Hello everybody, how are you today? And I hope you are keeping well. Okay, welcome back once again to our English class online. And in this video, we're gonna learn about Unit 2. Yeah, and last week we already learned about Unit 1. So let me remind you something that we learned last week. We learned about chapter 5 lost way, and you did want to get lost in the forest. Okay, and we also have one homework, and I would like to say thank you very much for your hard working to do this exercise, and you send me back about your answer. Thank you very much. And so I would like to correct your homework, and you have to join me to correct the homework together and check your answer, how many statements are right and how many statements you did wrong. Okay, so number one, we start from if. Yeah, let's check together. If the people are familiar with Kirirum, comma, they they may know the forest routes, right? Yeah. Number two, if she doesn't get up early, comma, Dari may miss the bus. Okay. Number three, if she goes into the forest, comma, she uh, she what? So we continue to uh, she may get lost, right? She may get lost. Okay. Number four, if the teacher allows them, comma, uh, they may they may go into the forest. Yeah. And the last statement, if there is a map of that area, comma, it may not be very useful. Okay, congratulations that you have done all right. Thank you. So now let's start to learn the new unit, everyone. The unit 2, we learn about the journey, part 1. So there are two parts of the journey, but unit 2 we learn only part 1. The journey part 1 and unit 3 we're gonna learn about journey part 2. Okay. Yes, but before we start, we have to learn some new words that I have already written on this. Okay, so chapter 5 lost way. Yeah, chapter 5 lost way, unit 2 the journey part 1. Okay, so let's see vocabulary here. Vocabulary number 1, emergency. Emergency ណៅនយើងប្រែថាការបន្ទាន់ emergency នេះគឺប្រែថាការបន្ទាន់ ឬក៏ការសង្គ្រោះបន្ទាន់ គឺយើងប្រើពាក្យ emergency នេះដែរណា Okay, again, number 1, emergency. Emergency ការបន្ទាន់ number 2, junction. Junction. Junction យើងប្រែថាផ្លូវបំបែក number 3, quiet. Quiet attitude ដែលស្ងប់ស្ងាត់ quiet. Number 4, wherever. Wherever. Yeah, wherever ឬក៏ wherever. Adverb យើងប្រែថាកន្លែងណាក៏ដោយណា wherever, whatever យើងប្រែថាក៏ដោយណាកន្លែងណាក៏ដោយអ្វីក៏ដោយបើសិនជាយើងប្រែជាមួយនឹង whatever. Okay. Number 5, carry on. ពាក្យនេះយើងអានថា carry on វាជា phrasal verb ដែលយើងប្រែថាបន្តណាបន្តឬក៏តទៅទៀតបន្តទៅទៀតយើងអានថា carry on. And the last word, set off. Set off verb វាជា phrasal verb ដែរយើងប្រែថាចេញដំណើរ Okay, ចេញដំណើរយើងប្រើពាក្យ set off. Okay, again, you can read after me, everyone. emergency, emergency, junction, quiet, wherever, carry on, set off. អូខេហើយអត្ថន័យរបស់វានៅខាងនេះអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាអាចpause the video បន្តិចទៅហើយ copy វាចូលក្នុងសៀវភៅអូខេបន្ទាប់ពី copy ហើយអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាបន្តទៅកាន់letter A, yeah, read the story, ask and answer the question. So we come back to our lesson here. Okay, letter A, talk about the picture. Yes, let's talk a little bit about the picture. What can you see in the picture? Yeah, right. You can see a car. How many people in the car? Yes, good. 3 people. They are a family, right? And you can see cows. You can see some trees, hills. Yeah, hill mean a small mountain, right? Yeah. So this is a family that I don't know where are they going. So you can see together when we read the story. Okay. Number 2, read the story. And after read the story, you have to answer the questions. Okay, so before we read the story, I would like you to look at the question first. How many questions are there here? Good. There are 5 questions that you have to answer after reading. Okay. Number 1, why did George, Susan, and David set off early? Yes, you must understand the word set off. We just learned. Okay, set off means ចេញដំណើរណា Yeah. 3 people, the names George, Susan, and David. Why did George, Susan, and David set off early? Number 2, why did they pack bags? Do you think? Pack bags យើងមានន័យថារៀបចំបង្អួចរៀបចំអីវ៉ាន់សម្រាប់ស្នាក់អាស្រ័យហ្នឹងណា Okay យើងប្រើពាក្យ pack bags. Number 3, where was the small village? Where was the small village? Okay. And number 5, why did they stop? Why did they stop under a big tree? Number 5, why would Susan like to arrive early? Would like mean want. Okay, so come back to our story that you have to listen carefully, and you can also read along with me, everyone. Now let's start together. Start to read. Last Saturday, George Jones and his family were invited to a wedding in a small town about 200 kilometers from their home. Wow, it's very far. 200 kilometers from their home. As soon as they got up, they quickly packed their bags, prepared some food and drink, and set off early. It was warm as George drove through the busy streets of Oxbridge. After some time, there were fewer buildings and more trees, and the air became cleaner and fresher. George and his wife, Susan, had no trouble with the route because it was familiar. You remember the word familiar? The last unit we already learned this word. Familiar យើងប្រែថាធ្លាប់ស្គាល់មែនទេ Yeah. After about 2 hours, they reached a junction, and Susan, who was now driving, turned off the motorway. She drove through a small village in the middle of green hills and stopped under a big tree so that they could have a rest and something to eat. The sun shone brightly and the birds sang. While George and their son, David, got the food and drink out, Susan looked at the map. I'm not sure exactly where we are, but I think we're nearly there, she said. If we carry on like this, we may get there in time to have a rest before the wedding. Well, Wherever this is, I think it's a lovely quiet place, said David. After relaxing for about half an hour, they set off again, driving through the open countryside. On the other side, on either side, small straight trees wave in the wind. Suddenly, however, the sky began to grow dark and the wind began to blow more strongly. "Oh dear," said George. "If the sky grows any darker, I think it may rain, and quite heavily." "We don't worry, don't worry, dear," said Susan. It's, it's not an emergency. We haven't got far to go." Okay, that's finished. You can read again, everyone. I think if you want to practice your reading, you have to read it again. Okay. So now move to let's move to the questions, and you have to answer. Okay. Why did George, Susan, and David set off early? So because what? So you can see the answer now. Yes, number one, because they had a long way, 200 kilometers to go. Number two, what is in number two? Because they were going to stay in a small town that night, couldn't return to their home. Number three, in the middle of green hills in the open countryside. Okay. Number four, why did they stop under a big tree? Because they wanted to have rest and something to eat. Number five, the last question and also the last answer. Why would Susan like to arrive early? Yes, because she would like to have a rest before the wedding. That's it. So it is all the correct answers that you have to copy into your notebook, everyone. The most important thing in this unit, you have to look at section B. Sorry, it's not A at all. Section B. I forget it. Let me correct it. Yeah, B. I'm sorry. Okay. Look at section B, everyone. Use the clues to fill in the gaps. Use the clues to fill in the gap here. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So let B, we got three clues: as soon as, so that, and the word while. And you have to fill in this gap. Yeah, there are 6 statements that you have to fill. So before we fill in the gaps, you have to learn about these 3 words. What are they and how do we use them? Okay, so let's come back again to our slide here. Okay, grammar today. In this unit, we learn about subordinate clauses. Subordinate clauses អ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាធ្លាប់រៀនពាក្យថា subordinate clause ទេ Okay, subordinate clause with so that, as soon as, and while. អញ្ចឹងយើងនឹងរៀនអំពីពាក្យទាំង3នេះដែលប្រើនៅក្នុង subordinate clause តែយើងត្រូវសិក្សាជាមុនសិនថាតើអ្វីជា subordinate clause ឥឡូវការពន្យល់គឺមាននៅខាងក្រោមនេះគេដាក់ថា subordinate clause is a clause that cannot stand on its own. Subordinate clause គឺជា clause មួយដែលមិនអាចឈរដោយខ្លួនឯងបានមានន័យថាកាលណាទៅសេ subordinate clause វាត្រូវតែមាន clause មួយទៀតដើម្បីបញ្ជាក់ឬក៏បំពេញន័យឲ្យវានៅក្នុងល្បះហ្នឹងដើម្បីឲ្យវាមានន័យស្ដាប់បាន bởi dương đặt ta subordinate clause thực tế cứ viêm mình miên đây group còn tế dương một tỷ họ as soon as I got up I wash my face chẳng nè clear biệt tha as soon as I got up ní viết cứ chia subordinate clause à lấy bên sân chỉ dương lục mà cái nạn này chào lục biệt tha I wash my face ok dương lục biệt mà clearនឹងចោលគឺអានេះគឺមានន័យស្ដាប់បានទេ as soon as I got up ណាបន្ទាប់ពីខ្ញុំក្រោកពីដេកអញ្ចឹងន័យរបស់វាបើយើងប្រែតែប៉ុណ្្នឹងគឺអត់មានន័យគ្រប់គ្រាន់ស្ដាប់បានទេអាហ្នឹងគេហៅថា subordinate clause មានន័យថា clause មួយដែលមានដែលមិនអាចនៅតែឯងបានដែលមិនអាចឈរតែឯងបានតោះនេះតែអានេះគឺវាជាប្រយោគ clause ពេញលេញនេះទោះបីជាដាក់តែឯងគឺយើងអាចបកប្រែវាបានហើយមានន័យគ្រប់គ្រាន់ដែរអញ្ចឹងសូមបញ្ជាក់ម្ដងទៀត subordinate clause គឺជា clause មួយដែលមិនអាចឈរតែឯងបានគឺវាប្រើដើម្បីចូលរួមជាមួយនឹងគេវាអត់អាចឈរតែឯងបានទេវាត្រូវការគេដើម្បីបញ្ជាក់ន័យរបស់វាថាវាមាននឹងមានអីកើតឡើងវាកើតឡើងយ៉ាងម៉េចអូខេអញ្ចឹងវាប៉ុណ្ណឹងនេះជាឧទាហរណ៍បញ្ជាក់ពី subordinate clause អញ្ចឹង subordinate clause វាមានច្រើនដូចជាពាក្យថាយើងមានពាក្យ clear ដែលមាន if នៅជាប់ជាមួយវា clear ដែលមានពាក្យថា when ពាក្យអីហ្នឹងគឺជាប់ជាមួយនឹង adverb clear ណាដែលមាន adverb ជាមួយវាហ្នឹងគឺវាជាគេហៅ subordinate clause ហើយមានន័យថាវាមិនអាចឈរតែឯងបានតោះនេះទាំងអស់គ្នាតោះឥឡូវយើងបន្តមកមើលពាក្យថា as soon as វិញតើវាមានន័យយ៉ាងម៉េចហើយប្រើយ៉ាងម៉េចអញ្ចឹងក្នុងវេយ្យាករណ៍យើងនេះគឺយើងទី1យើងបានរៀនស្គាល់អំពី subordinate clause ទី2យើងនឹងបានរៀនអំពីពាក្យទាំង3ដែលយើងប្រើប្រាស់វាជាមួយនឹង subordinate clause គឺយើងមានពាក្យថា as soon as អូខេគឺប្រើវា is used to talk about two actions which happen at different time គឺប្រើអាហ្នឹងគឺប្រើវាសម្រាប់ពិពណ៌នាsorry ប្រើសម្រាប់និយាយអំពីសកម្មភាពពីរដែលកើតឡើងពីផ្សេងគ្នាកើតឡើងពេលផ្សេងគ្នាហ្នឹងគឺមានន័យថាមួយកើតមុនភ្លាមបន្ទាប់ហើយមានមួយទៀតកើតបន្ទាប់នេះដូចជាឧទាហរណ៍ខាងលើអញ្ចឹងណា as soon as I got up I wash my face អញ្ចឹង I got up ហើយនឹង wash my face នេះវាជាសកម្មភាពពីរអញ្ចឹងហ៎សកម្មភាពពីរទៅសកម្មភាពមួយណាកើតមុនសកម្មភាពទី1គឺ I got up សកម្មភាពទី2គឺ I wash my face អញ្ចឹងអានឹងគេប្រើ as soon as នេះអញ្ចឹងរូបមន្តរបស់វាគឺយើងយក as soon as បូកជាមួយនឹង action 1សកម្មភាពទី1ខ្ញុំដាក់ថា action 1អញ្ចឹង clear របស់វាបើយើងដាក់ as soon as ពីខាងដើមអញ្ចឹងល្បះដែលជាប់វាហ្នឹងគឺវាជាសកម្មភាពដែលកើតឡើងទី1សកម្មភាពមុនអូខេ comma បូកជាមួយនឹង action 2សកម្មភាពទី2ឧទាហរណ៍ដូចខាងលើនេះអញ្ចឹងណាហើយយើងក៏អាចត្រឡប់បានដែរឬក៏បើសិនជាយើងចង់ដាក់ as soon as នៅកណ្ដាលគឺយើងយកសកម្មភាពទី2ដាក់នៅខាងដើមហើយសកម្មភាពទី1ដាក់នៅខាងចុងអញ្ចឹង as soon as អាចចូលនៅកណ្ដាលបានតោះទាំងអស់គ្នាឥឡូវខ្ញុំឧទាហរណ៍មួយas soon as I get up I eat breakfast អូខេអញ្ចឹងយើងមើលនេះសកម្មភាពមួយ get up វាជាវាមានន័យថាវាជា action 1 comma បូកជាមួយនឹង action 2តោះនេះចឹងតែយើងអាចត្រឡប់បានទេបានគឺយើងអាចដាក់ as soon as នៅកណ្ដាលបានដោយយក action 2ដាក់ខាងដើមតោះទាំងអស់គ្នាអូខេបើសិនជាខ្ញុំនិយាយលឿនពេកអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាអាចចុចមើលវាម្ដងទៀតងាយស្រួលទេអត់ពិបាកហត់គ្រូបញ្យល់ពីម្ដងយើងអាចសារឡើងវិញបានអូខេចុះយើងត្រឡប់យ៉ាងម៉េចនេះខ្ញុំត្រឡប់ឲ្យមើលគឺ I eat breakfast as soon as I get up អូនៅមួយទៀតអញ្ចឹង as soon as យើងបកប្រែថាម៉េចអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាអាចបកប្រែថាម៉េចអញ្ចឹងយើងអាចបកប្រែវាថាបន្ទាប់ពីមានន័យថាសកម្មភាព2កើតឡើងអញ្ចឹងមួយកើតហើយបន្ទាប់ពីមួយកើតគឺអីអញ្ចឹងយើងអាចបកប្រែមកបន្ទាប់ពីខ្ញុំក្រោកពីគេងខ្ញុំញ៉ាំអាហារពេលព្រឹកឬក៏ខ្ញុំញ៉ាំអាហារពេលព្រឹកបន្ទាប់ពីខ្ញុំក្រោកពីគេងតែប៉ុណ្ណឹងតោះនេះទាំងអស់គ្នាអញ្ចឹងបញ្ជាក់ម្ដងទៀតយើងបាន as soon as មួយអូខេបន្ទាប់ពីឥឡូវយើងបន្តមកកាន់អីគេ while គេប្រើយ៉ាងម៉េចគេដាក់ថា while is used to express two actions that happen at the same time usually with continuous tenses អញ្ចឹងគេថា while គឺយើងប្រើវាដើម្បីបញ្ជាក់អំពី សកម្មភាពពីរដែលកើតឡើងដំណាលគ្នាកើតឡើងពេលតែមួយយើងអាចមានន័យថាអញ្ចឹងណាកើតឡើងពេលតែមួយជាធម្មតាគឺវាប្រើជាមួយនឹងcontinuous tense មានន័យថាកំពុងបន្តកាលកំពុងបន្តអញ្ចឹងយើងមើលរូបមន្តរបស់វាដូចតែដូចតែអីដូចតែ as soon as មិនអញ្ចឹងបើយើងយកវាដាក់ខាងមុនអូ sorry អានេះគឺchờសំកែបន្តិចអត់មាន action 2ទេដោយសារអីវាអត់មាន action 1 action 2ទេដោយសារវាសកម្មភាពកើតឡើងដំណើរគ្នាអញ្ចឹងយើងមិនបាច់ដាក់1 2ទេ sorry អញ្ចឹងយើងសូមលុបអានឹងចោលឥឡូវយើងមកមើលសាថ្មីនេះអញ្ចឹងសកម្មភាពមាន2ដូចគ្នាអញ្ចឹងអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាកាលណាដាក់ while ពីខាងដើមយើងត្រូវប្រើ comma បើសិនជាដាក់ while នៅកណ្ដាលយើងមិនបាច់ប្រើ comma ទេតោះនេះអានឹងដូចជា as soon as ដែរណាអូខេឧទាហរណ៍ while I walk home it was raining ខណៈពេលដែលខ្ញុំដើរមកផ្ទះវាបានកំពុងភ្លៀងអូខេឬក៏យើងដាក់ while នៅកណ្ដាលវិញបាន I was cooking while she was reading a book អូខេតោះណាអញ្ចឹង while យើងបកប្រែថាម៉េចខណៈពេលដែរណាខណៈពេលដែរយើងបកប្រែមកណាអូខេនៅចុងក្រោយមួយទៀតចុងក្រោយគឺ so that គឺ is used to express the purpose មានន័យថា purpose ប្រែថាគោលបំណងណាគោលបំណងយើងប្រែថាគោលបំណង yes ប្រែថាគោលបំណងអញ្ចឹងយើងមើលឧទាហរណ៍I learn English so that I will have a good job I learn English so that I will have a good job អញ្ចឹងពាក្យ so that កន្លែងនេះមិនមែនបកប្រែថាដូច្នេះទេណា so that កន្លែងនេះគឺយើងបកប្រែថាដើម្បីយើងបកប្រែថាដើម្បីតោះនេះគឺបង្ហាញអំពី purpose អញ្ចឹងយើងប្រែថាដើម្បីខ្ញុំរៀនភាសាអង់គ្លេសដើម្បីខ្ញុំនឹងអាចមានការងារមួយដ៏ល្អអូខេអញ្ចឹងយើងមេរៀនយើងមានប៉ុណ្ណឹងដែលយើងរៀននៅក្នុងមេរៀននេះគឺ grammar យើងបាន subordinate clause យើងមានពាក្យ while ពាក្យ so that ហើយនិង as soon as អូខេរួចហើយអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាមកធ្វើអីគឺធ្វើចម្លើយនេះលំហាត់ដែលយើងនេះមិញហ្នឹងគឺ1 2 3 4 5 6អ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាបំពេញវាមកដោយដាក់ពាក្យទាំង3ហ្នឹង as soon as so that ហើយនិង while អូខេវីដេអូនេះមានប៉ុណ្ណឹងហើយអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាមានចម្ងល់អីអាចសួរបន្ថែមបាននៅពេលដែល teacher ផ្ញើវីដេអូនឹងឲ្យមើលតោះនេះអូខេThank you very much for watching everyone and see you again the next video. Thank you.